Why Emperor Qianlong is considered the luckiest emperor. Emperor Qianlong, the sixth emperor of the Qing dynasty, is often regarded as one of the most fortunate rulers in Chinese history. His reign, which lasted for 6 decades, was marked by prosperity, peace, and unprecedented wealth. Many historians and scholars have referred to him as the luckiest emperor, due to the exceptional circumstances under which he ascended to the throne, his absolute power, the luxuries and privileges he enjoyed throughout his life, and his ability to leave a lasting legacy. This essay delves deeply into the various aspects of Qianlong's reign, highlighting the factors that contributed to his extraordinary fortune. Ascending the throne at the perfect time. Qianlong's rise to the throne was a moment of historical serendipity. He succeeded his father, Emperor Yongzheng, in 1735, but his reign was built upon the strong foundations laid by his predecessors, notably Emperor Gangxi and his father, Emperor Yongzheng. Inherited stability from Gangxi. The Qing dynasty's early years were marked by political instability and the struggle to consolidate power. However, Gangxi, who ruled for over 6 decades, was instrumental in stabilizing China. His reign saw the empire grow to its largest territorial extent and the consolidation of central power. Gangxi was known for his wise governance, efforts to promote economic prosperity, and strengthening of the military, ensuring that the Qing dynasty entered a period of great stability. Financial prosperity from Yongzheng. When Qianlong ascended to the throne, the fiscal situation of the empire was in an exceptionally strong position, thanks to the efforts of his father, Emperor Yongzheng. Yongzheng's reign was focused on reforming the financial system, increasing state revenues, and eliminating corruption within the bureaucracy. These reforms filled the state's coffers, ensuring that Qianlong inherited a robust treasury. With financial security in place, Qianlong did not face the same financial constraints or challenges that many of his predecessors had. A peaceful and stable kingdom. Qianlong inherited a kingdom that was largely peaceful, and unlike his ancestors, he did not need to engage in life-or-death battles for survival. By the time he ascended the throne, internal rebellions had been largely suppressed, and external threats were minimal. He did not have to fight the kinds of wars that his predecessors had, such as the wars against the Ming loyalists or conflicts with the Russian Empire. This stability allowed Qianlong to focus on consolidating his power, fostering economic growth, and indulging in cultural pursuits. Key takeaway: Qianlong's reign was marked by a peaceful and prosperous empire, and as a result, he was a ruler who didn't have to worry about external invasions or rebellions. A king who doesn't need to fear losing his throne is, in many ways, the luckiest. Absolute power, no rivals. One of the key reasons why Qianlong is often considered the luckiest emperor is the absolute power he wielded during his reign. By the time he ascended the throne, the Qing imperial system had reached its peak in terms of centralized authority. The apex of imperial power. Qianlong inherited an empire in which imperial authority was absolute. The emperor's word was law, and Qianlong was able to wield this power without significant opposition. By the time Qianlong took the throne, the empire's administration was highly centralized, and the emperor had full control over all aspects of governance, from military matters to domestic affairs. There were no powerful rival factions within the court that could challenge his rule. The imperial power was so strong that when Qianlong issued an edict or decree, it was instantly obeyed without question. No powerful factions or court intrigue. Unlike some of his predecessors, Qianlong was fortunate enough to not face the dangerous and often fatal power struggles within the court. Many Chinese emperors had to contend with ambitious courtiers or influential eunuchs vying for power. However, Qianlong's reign was marked by the absence of such power struggles. There were no significant uprisings from powerful ministers or generals, and his reign was characterized by internal peace within the court. He did not have to fight internal battles for dominance or security. Unquestioned authority. Qianlong's rule was marked by the unwavering authority of the emperor. The Qing court had become so strong and consolidated that the emperor's authority was absolute. Every decision he made was carried out, and no one within the empire could challenge his edicts. Whether it was a military campaign or a domestic policy, Qianlong's word was final. Key takeaway: the emperor who wields such absolute and uncontested power can be considered truly fortunate. Qianlong's reign was one where his authority was unquestioned, and he never faced any serious threats to his rule. A life of luxurious enjoyment and longevity. Qianlong's reign was not only long and stable, but it was also filled with indulgences and personal enjoyment. The emperor's ability to enjoy a long and prosperous life was another key reason why he is considered the luckiest emperor. Reigning for 60 years. Qianlong ruled for an impressive 60 years, making him one of the longest reigning emperors in Chinese history. His long reign gave him the opportunity to implement his vision for the empire, create vast works of art, and indulge in his personal interests. Many rulers would not have had the time to carry out such a broad and far-reaching legacy, but Qianlong had 6 decades to shape his empire and enjoy the fruits of his labor. Living to 89 years, Emperor Qianlong's longevity was another aspect of his fortune. Living to the age of 89 in the 18th century was a rarity, especially for an emperor who often faced the stresses of ruling a vast empire. His long life allowed him to enjoy the riches of his position, and he was in good health for most of his life. This long lifespan also allowed him to remain involved in the politics of the court, long after his official abdication. Voluntary abdication. Despite his long life and reign, Qianlong made the unprecedented decision to voluntarily abdicate the throne in 1796, passing it on to his son, the Jia Emperor. However, even after abdicating, he continued to hold immense influence over the empire. This rare act of humility allowed Qianlong to avoid the appearance of surpassing his grandfather, the revered Kangxi Emperor. It also allowed him to retain control of the empire without the burden of formal leadership, thus continuing to enjoy the benefits of being the de facto ruler of China. Key takeaway: Qianlong enjoyed a long and prosperous reign, living to an old age and retiring gracefully, yet still holding power from behind the scenes. His ability to enjoy a life of luxury and power well into his later years was one of the reasons he is regarded as the luckiest emperor. Living the life of a playboy king with art, culture, and leisure. Qianlong was not only a ruler focused on governance and expansion, he was also an emperor who greatly enjoyed the arts, leisure activities, and luxury. His reign is known for being a time of flourishing culture and opulence, and Qianlong's personal indulgence in these pleasures added to the sense of his fortunate life. Passionate about the arts, Qianlong was a patron of the arts, and his reign was marked by a flourishing of Chinese art and culture. He was particularly fond of poetry, calligraphy, and painting. Qianlong himself was a talented calligrapher and painter, and he enjoyed creating works of art that reflected his intellectual and artistic tastes. His court was a center of artistic achievement, and he surrounded himself with scholars, poets, and artists, encouraging the development of cultural traditions. Building lavish palaces and gardens. Qianlong's love for luxury extended to the construction of elaborate palaces and gardens. One of the most famous examples is the creation of the Yuanming Yuan, also known as the Old Summer Palace. This sprawling complex of palaces and gardens was a symbol of Qianlong's wealth and taste. He also commissioned numerous other grand building projects, including the construction of the Xi'an Garden and Pavilion of Endless Spring. all of which became part of his legacy. Enjoying the pleasures of life. Qianlong was also known for his indulgence in the pleasures of life, particularly his love for hunting, traveling, and visiting remote regions of the empire. He frequently embarked on expeditions to the southern and western parts of the empire, exploring distant lands and taking pleasure in the beauty of nature. He also enjoyed the company of his numerous concubines, each of whom contributed to his lavish lifestyle. Key takeaway: Emperor Qianlong was a man of refined tastes who indulged in the luxuries of life, from art and culture to grand palaces and exotic adventures. His ability to live such a life of leisure and enjoyment is yet another reason why he is considered the luckiest emperor. Emperor Qianlong's reign was marked by unparalleled prosperity, stability, and personal enjoyment. From inheriting a strong and peaceful empire, wielding absolute power without opposition, and living a long life full of luxuries and pleasures, Qianlong's life can be seen as the epitome of royal fortune. His ability to balance the demands of ruling with the indulgence of personal passions made him, without a doubt, the luckiest emperor in Chinese history. His reign not only brought prosperity to the Qing dynasty, but also left a lasting legacy in art, culture, and imperial governance, cementing his place in history as one of China's most fortunate rulers.